Hey, happy Friday, everybody. This is Clutch's favorite day of the week, and we got some, we called that pump yesterday. Well, we called the big move with the ranges, and man, did we move over $100 with Ethereum. And we're just sitting here looking at the charts. Pete Wellington's got quite a few insights here with the charts that we want to talk about here today. And futures are on the upside, and market opens in about 9 minutes. So, B. Wellington, what you got, man?
Okay, well, so we're going to start off on the daily, like we always do, because that's how we prepare for the day. And as we talked about, yeah, we've got this range up here, 1278. We moved up into this range. We've had a good amount of volume, even though it does appear to be dropping at this point, which means that we could be headed out of steam. But we're one of those rangy areas, and so we're getting to the top of this range. We're at 1222 right now. The top of that range is 1278. So as we approach that top of the range, what you want to see for a breakout is you want to see volume start to increase. You want to see kind of a consistent move upward. If it starts getting real violent, when you've got these spikes in volume, that's really an instance where you really see a bunch of trappiness. And so you start getting spikes, slow down, spikes relative to the volume. Then, I would expect some type of, what they call a swing pattern failure, which just means that we're going to come back up here, break this peak in anticipation of people going long off of that break and then pulling back, trapping those guys like these have been trapped on this wick, and then bringing it back down into the range. So, that's kind of what the game plan is for today. And as you can see, we've had these levels marked off for a while, but you're going to have a lot of folks that are still long here, still long in these wicks here, that are still hanging on. And so
if we go up and tap that 800 there, we still leave all of those longs that bought up there at the top trapped, right?
Yeah, but even if we got up to this area, you're going to expect some of these folks to be just under break even, that have been sitting in these trades for a while, that may just start to sell off to get out of these longs. So you should see somewhat of a move down the closer we get to these ranges. If we then start to move out and break those ranges, that's just to trap folks even more if it comes back. If you see a lot of vectors that come through and we really start to break out, this 800 should be a pretty a good resistance, because if you look, it's been a very long while since we've actually touched it. And, in the last few times we've touched it, then we've had some big rejections off of it. The last time is when we kind of broke out of this trend line here, on this big move to the upside. So, but we did have a big move coming up as we, last time when we hit it here, moved all the way up. This was kind of the first of what you want to call bull trap or bear market rally. Got up into this trend line, moved back down, and then kind of broke its way all the way down. So, first time hitting the 800, I would expect a rejection, but, we may move through. And if we do move through, let's talk about that scenario. Then definitely these peaks up here, I would say that, 1700, really 1800 be your first kind of peak in this area. And so all these vector candles here would be recovered. So like 1770 would be, the area I would be looking for if we break. Again, this is an area where we can trap a lot.
Did you just say 1770?
Yeah.
Man. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Woo!
Okay. So we got the bull in the house.
Bull is in his
let's not forget about the macro environment that's out there. We just had one of the largest CPI prints in a 40-year history of time. A lot of the numbers are starting to come in positively relative to the Fed controlling demand, but inflation is still at elevated levels. Have we reached the peak? We don't know. The last week realized when we're having the Fed meeting for the print, as far as what the increase is going to be. Will it be 75? Will it be 100? A lot of speculation around that. We also have earnings season coming out starting next week, and so a lot of the stocks are going to have their price earnings. So they will be comparing it to, what are we in Q2 of last year, right? And so, the Q2 of last year, whatever that comparable is, that is those are going to be good numbers. So these numbers are going to come in considerably lower, maybe not in some of the banking sectors, things of that nature, but we do have an economic slowdown. So when those earnings come out, let's just be careful. So we're just talking about today. I do expect us to get up into this 800. It's going to be a very, you got to be very careful when we get up to this because it could reject based upon some of the things I've talked about. And if we do reject, I do expect us to come at least down into where the psychological low is, which is that 1178, which is a psychological low, and then possibly into the 200 for a move back up to the upside if it decides to do that. Again, this is going to be an area which I would call support. If it does hold, expect it to move up, from here, maybe even dip down a little bit lower, 1133, but I do expect us really to move up the early part of the session, maybe come back down. I do expect some traps here and there, some stop hunts as we move out of this range. Ethereum's been doing nothing but just going up. This is on a shorter time frame. We've already had the cross here relative to the 200 and the 800 on the 14-minute. This is a 14-minute. And so this is a range I expect us to get up to, here shortly. But I do expect to retrace at some point. Also, just remember we've got vectors coming all the way down, which do tend to be recovered to 1085 all the way down here. But we've got some momentum to the upside. So I expect that to continue in the short term. Let's see. If we look at open interest, $4.5 billion, almost a 15% increase in OI. And so this is going to be a mixed bag of longs and shorts, but I do see that a lot of shorts have gotten on board so far because a lot of liquidations probably have happened on this move to the upside, and therefore people tends to flip very quickly to go to the long side. If you do look at things like funding rate, Bybit, Binance, FTX has got, they're expecting, some pullback here on predictor rate, but we're pretty much mixed across the board, but overall kind of a positive sentiment. So I'd be interested to see what HighBlock and Bookmap have to say about that on the shorter term. As Clutch mentioned, we have futures. They are up. They just spiked up before the open. And so we've got 2 minutes to the open. So we'll have to anticipate that. A lot of this, what we normally see is this pullback after the open. So that first 30 minutes to 45 minutes within the market being open should be interesting. But right now, futures are up. And then news-wise, I don't have it. But there's really not any significant news today, so I wouldn't even go there at this point. Plus, I don't know, open my buried menus of websites while we're on live. But anyway, that's all I got for today. What do you got on your end, Clutch?
Let's check it out. Can you see HighBlock?
I can't see HighBlock.
All right, cool. Hey, so this is HighBlock Capital in just a few short days. All it took from us to go from negative $7 billion all the way up to $8.8 billion on the cumulative liquidation delta here. And as you can see, we have just been building, and we are slowly starting to wind down the short liquidation balance. So that may be a sign that we are starting to get some exhaustion here. And then we have a ton of long liquidations, specifically down here in 1167 area. And then we have one more big one that's a little bit down here somewhere in the 1150 area. So I do expect that we will range back down into those areas here fairly soon. They probably won't want to leave those out here on the books. Whether or not they go lower, that's left to be determined right now. A big critical area if we're going to see lower prices would be 1077. So pay attention if we break below that. Do expect some lower prices there. And again, we're up to 8.8 billion. Usually don't see this. Usually get much higher than 9-10 billion in the area before we start seeing reversals. So I am expecting a reversal at some point. However, is it going to be coming in here soon? That's left to be determined. So let's get Bookmap over here to try to help us out with that. And as you can see here, guys, we're right up here, about to be at the top of both the session volume profile and the chart volume profile, which is around 1236. We did come getting close to testing this area just recently. A lot of longs jumped up, showed up. And then you saw a pullback up for a little stop hunt. Now we're New York just opened about a minute ago, and as you can see, we are on our way, just like B. Wellington called it, with that expectation at the open, a move up. Where are we going to stop? Well, that's left to be determined right now, but let's take a look on the bigger time frame so that way we can get a little bit more of a clear direction. So we do have some long-term liquidity up at 1270 and 1300. 1280, folks, is going to be that really critical area about that breakout to that 1700 area that B. Wellington was talking about, because if we do that, we let go all of the longs that are currently trapped, which tells us that they're not in the business of trapping longs right now. So do pay attention when we get in that 1280. We break above that, we get above 1300. Go ahead and expect to ride this baby to the upside. As far as going downward, again, down there in that 1070 range is the key area if we're going to see some lower prices. This may also just be a day of some ranging. It's really, as you can see, there's a lot of momentum up here to the upside. A lot of orders just showed up here. So I would expect that we're going to see some higher prices today. So I'm bullish for the day.
You're bullish every day.
I'm really bullish today. Does that count?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it though, I'll just take the other side of the coin since that's what I do. You know, we do have a bunch of this session volume, right, to the downside as well, right? I mean, so that counts for something relative to interest in those areas. A lot of those, a lot of the interest we have to the upside is on the sell side. I mean, there's our quote unquote sell walls. So we're gonna have to get, through that. But if you look at the median of the average, wouldn't you say that that's more towards the downside?
We're, like I said, we're sitting right here, but with the big delta on high block that we're seeing, there's an absolute potential for a drop. However, these guys are definitely favoring higher prices right now because we don't have any liquidity close to us for about $200, and we got a lot of stuff right here real close to us. So I do expect that we are going to probably at least try to retest that 1280 area before they at least let off the gas. So whether or not they let off the gas when we get to that point, we're just gonna have to wait and find out. So that's really all I got.
All right, brother. Well, that's some good analysis, but not but. So we're looking at it. We got that 800. To me, that 800 EMA right up top on the hourly is within sight. So expect to get there, and let's see if we can either push through it. It's going to depend on what the volume looks like when we get there, or reject off and revisit some of the areas that we talked about here on the show.
Absolutely, guys. You guys have a great weekend. We'll catch you Sunday for our special. There won't be I won't be on the show Monday because I will be going to see B. Wellington down in the dirty South. So I will be back on Tuesday, but we will have a show on Sunday night just to get everyone updated on what's going on. So you guys have a good Friday. Stay frosty, my friends. Until next